But Jacob says, for guys doing local SEO, how do you go about doing audits? I know people sometimes do outbound DMs with Loom videos for a local SEO audit. I'm wondering which software tools are necessary for someone starting out. Oh, by the way, I'm finishing up book 1, Frankie. When's the new one coming out? Pavel says, hey, agency owners, quick question. I'm looking for ways to predictably acquire leads for my agency. Does the Automatic Clients Framework by Alan Sultanic, or Sultanich, I don't know how you say his last name. I've only ever read it, never heard it pronounced. Work for acquiring agency leads, digital ads, SEO services, SMS service, web design, or is it just relevant for selling courses or coaching? Nathaniel Bear, what a cool name. Dude, he says, one of my competitors said that Excel is a great CRM. What do you guys use? What is up, everybody? Are we live? Is it happening? I think we're in. I think the machine has started. I've decided, by the way, I'm going to play with this a little bit and do some of these on my phone because I think it just makes better quality for you guys and all of that. And a couple of you guys, by the way, have commented about like my backdrop is messy. And I know, just so you guys know, it's like, this is a real office. Like a lot of people have like a studio setup where, they just come in and like record in that space. But this is actually like a real office that you're looking behind me, and my kids come in sometimes. So like, it's meant to look like it looks like. Anyways, I just want to give you guys a heads up on a couple of things. Firstly, I appreciate you guys so much. You guys helped make me a #1 bestseller. Like, how fucking cool is that? And that would never happen if you guys didn't, spread the word, share it, do your part. And I'm an old man yelling at a cloud, but if you guys like listening to this old man yell at a cloud, I'm going to keep making it. And so I really, really do each appreciate each and every one of you, and especially those of you guys who hear my 13-year-old boy humor and are still cool with it. Anyways, let's get into... I want to actually... quick little announcement just before we get rock and rolling. The 30-second commercial here, which is, by the way, that I'm making the Wolfpack really fucking awesome. And the amount of cool people getting in there now is really just blowing my mind. And now that we're like talking assets and stuff like that, we've really figured out how to build a much more leveraged agency than what everybody else is talking about. Which is like, everyone else just like is burnt out, working too fucking hard at this game. And what I want for you guys is much simpler than that, is to be able to have something that brings in money, allows you to invest and save and do stuff and have fun and go on adventures, but also have the time to do it, which I think is the most important thing. So for me, that means spending time with my family. For you, it may be Netflix or whatever, but I want you guys to have it regardless. So we're going to be sharing more about that. Let's get into the good stuff. I should mention a link just before we go. You guys can get that at beyondagencyprofits.com, and then there's a link that says Wolfpack, and you can find out details about there. Beyondagencyprofits.com. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Frankie Fihn proudly brings to you our weekly Q&A. Hope it looks different, by the way, for you guys who are seeing me on my phone. Actually, since we're on my phone, I can show you guys, for once, the other side of my office that nobody sees right here, which is we turned the TV into a Picasso because this house already came with a TV in this room, and I didn't give a shit. I just turned it into art. Anyway, let's start up with Richard. This was a whole comment thread. I'll read you guys the comment thread so you guys have a little bit of context. But Nathan asked, what is the biggest mistake you think agency owners make in year one? And I said, speaking just for me personally, I spent too much time on the wrong actions. So I was busy, but not on the shit that mattered. And so that meant for me, I was updating my website for like the 12,000th time. I spent a lot of time checking emails. I consumed a lot of content and courses, and it felt like that was taking action to me. So I felt like in a day, I felt like I was working my ass off, but I actually did very little of what's actually important and moved the needle. So, the other thing too I think about is it took me forever to make small decisions, especially if they involved money. So I'd spend a month researching for the perfect software, afraid if I chose the wrong one, it would be like the end of the world. So I think deep down, for me personally, I think especially in the beginning stages, I think just success terrified me. Just being real with you guys, that and as a result, it made me avoid all the important work. And I felt like I worked all the time. I just wasn't working on what mattered. And then I said to Nathan's question, I definitely see similar issues in a lot of beginners. And then Richard asked, so Frankie, that's me. How do I fix me and do the opposite of what you just described above? I'm going to give you an answer, my man, in an unlikely place, which is my favorite video game series of all time, The Legend of Zelda. Shout out to Cole who's watching. GoldenEye would be a close second. But anyway, in The Legend of Zelda game, like I used to like have all sorts of anxieties about money and success and like business, and like a lot of it just, I don't know, terrified the fuck out of me. And I remember one day I was playing The Legend of Zelda, and in the game my character had to suddenly urgently make money. I think I needed like some kind of item to progress in the game. I don't know, a shield, a potion, whatever. It costs money in the game. And I remember my mind went to 3 places really quickly in the game that I could go make a bunch of money. And it didn't really have a lot of muss and fuss about it. And I thought, well, what if I tried the first one and it didn't work? I just go to the second and the third. Like, it would be no big deal. And I thought about it, and I was like, why is it so easy in a fucking video game and so hard in like my real life? Like, why can I, like, if I need to raise 1,000 rupees in the game, rupees, but when I needed like Link to make a bunch of money in a game, like, I just solved the problem like 10 minutes. And yet, when it was like my real life, like I struggled to do what mattered and I avoided all kinds of shit. And I realized that the difference for me in those two things in one single word was meaning. And I'll tell you, the biggest thing I attached meaning to was the result of things. Meaning, like, and I almost always made it mean something about me. So when I would try something and it didn't work, like I took that as meaning like I suck. I'm no good. I should just get a real job. Maybe I'm a fucking loser. Maybe my father-in-law's right and I should just give the fuck up. Like, I'm stupid for making this business thing. And when things did work, the opposite of that would happen is I would make meaning about it, like, I'm so fucking awesome, I got the Midas touch, heart of gold, and I'd practically dislocate my shoulder trying to pat myself on the back. And I realized that neither one of those were healthy, because all I was really obtaining in both cases, what I consider to be the true meaning, is I just got feedback from the marketplace. So sometimes the feedback was, we don't want it, not interested. Sometimes the feedback is like, yeah, we want that. But I don't make it mean anything about me in either case. And so for the vast majority of you guys, like, who are starting out, especially in the beginning stages, since this question was one of those kind of questions, the most important thing you can possibly do in a fucking day is put your shit in front of people. Like, go have real conversations with people in your marketplace, or also people like one level above them that serve that marketplace. What I would call distribution, as those of you guys who read my second book. And so what that means for you guys is what's not moving the needle forward is checking your email doesn't move the needle forward. And updating your website because nobody's seeing it in the beginning stages is not moving the needle forward. And also, like, consuming shit can be useful, but in and of itself, that is not like you have to actually produce things in the marketplace to actually get paid. And so to me, the only thing that moves the needle forward in that like beginning stage one is conversations with people in your marketplace. So that means if I'm like serving plumbers, every time I'm talking to a plumber, even when it's not working out, even when they're not buying my shit, that's actually moving it forwards. Everything else is literally secondary, unimportant noise. And so you can do far more damage than most people do in a day by just spending 20 minutes listening to, talking to, engaging with plumbers, making offers and things like that, and then going your ass back to bed and eating fucking cereal all day than I used to spend 8 hours a day because I was doing all the wrong actions. And so I'll tell you what changed for me over the years is, like I said, I have no meaning attached to it. When I put something in the marketplace and it doesn't work, I literally just think, okay, well, the market doesn't want that. I guess I was wrong. And when it works out, I go, okay, I guess the market does want that. I guess I was right in this instant. And Jay Abraham, by the way, who has made billions putting shit out in the marketplace, says his batting average is 50%. Now, this is a guy who's like done it for 40 years and used to sell out like $10, $50 million events for a weekend and go from city to city, and he still misses 50% of the time. And so, like, once I think you realize, like, there's going to be some missing and there's going to be some successes in there, and don't make meaning about yourself in either case. Not on the not on the down especially, but not on the up either, right? Like, don't get a big ego either when your shit works. And what will happen is I find then I'm more willing personally to try stuff because it doesn't mean anything about me at all. These people don't even fucking know me, right? And like a plumber or a dentist or an e-commerce store owner that maybe you send an outreach message to, like, they don't fucking know you. The only thing they can possibly judge you on is like a little bit of words on a screen. Same thing if you put an ad in front of them. They're just judging you from words on a screen, right? And so if you make the meaning, those words on a screen don't resonate with my market, or those words on a screen do resonate with my market, there is nothing negative or positive for you. And then what happens is, I also found years later that the most successful people I know were really input focused. And so what I mean by that is, I have friends in the land business, and they started to realize that approximately for every time you send 100 direct mail letters to like people who own land and you make them an offer, and they make a lot of lowball offers, by the way, like they're not like the top dollar people, but they usually get like 1 out of 100 people to say, yeah, okay, I'll give you my land for dirt cheap. And they find if they do that, for every 100 letters, they get somebody. And so what I learned from those guys is some weeks you send 100 letters and you get nobody. And some weeks you send 100 letters and you get 5 motherfuckers to sell you a piece of land for like dirt cheap. But they made the most important thing not the did I get 5 people, did I get 0. They made it the actual input, not the output or the result. They made it, did I send 100 letters in the mail this week? And so to me, the more you can get like super clear about this is the thing that'll move the needle, conversations, this is my preferred way of getting engaging conversations with my marketplace, and I need to have 100 of those, and you just fucking do those things and you don't make it mean anything about you other than I need to calibrate some words on a screen, then you're gonna like do it a lot faster than most people do. And because like you'll realize it's not that hard because it's a two-way dialogue, and plumbers, if you're talking to plumbers, they'll tell you where you're missing the mark and what's important to them. I don't want leads. I want people to call me for this type of job. Well, that's what I'm talking about. A lead. What? Say that name, job type again? Yeah, it's just a keyword. I can bid on those. Super easy. Okay, no problem. So anyways, I hope that's helpful for those of you guys who are in those beginning stages, really to separate signal from noise. Because I'll tell you the biggest mistake that I probably, like from an activity point of view, I felt like consuming stuff was action because I was learning about it constantly. But only if you take a step forward based on what you learn is it actually anything at all. And so it's an easy trap to feel like you're watching videos and like doing stuff, but at some point you have to like actually talk to a fucking plumber or an e-commerce store, whoever, and everything else is like literally secondary. But once you own that, you'll realize that they're just people. They're not like big scary people, and they're usually actually, if you approach them in a cool way, they're open to it. So, anyways, I hope that's helpful. Jacob's up next. I meant to answer a few of these questions last week, but we just had some issues. But Jacob says, for guys doing local SEO, how do you go about doing audits? I know people sometimes do outbound DMs with Loom videos for a local SEO audit. I'm wondering which software tools are necessary for someone starting out. Oh, by the way, I'm finishing up book 1, Frankie. When's the new one coming out? Obviously, this was last week. The book wasn't out. So anyways, but I meant to answer that, Jacob, but we just, again, had some technical issues. So anyways, this ties into the last theme a little bit, because I'll tell you, in the beginning stages, I made a lot of little trivial things that are like essentially are not 80-20 things make a big deal of difference. And so you asked that question, which to me is a non-80-20 kind of question, which is what kind of software or tool is the best way to sell an SEO service by doing an SEO audit? And I will answer the software and tool question in a second for you. But I want to tell you something like that I think is a lot more important is what you're actually offering the person on the other side. Like really getting clear about what does a fucking dentist want? What does an online business coach want to do? What does a baby product e-commerce store really want? Because the more you think about that thing, what the person on the other side of it really wants, your shit will work better. And I'll tell you, to make this really simple for those of you guys who are selling SEO audits, I want to give you a simple framework. This is how I've done it for many, many years, and it works very, very well, which is you simply run an analysis using some kind of tool, and there's tons of good ones. It doesn't really matter which one, but you run an analysis for that person's business. So ABC water damage restoration. And you look at things like the links and how optimized and what their score is. How are they actually ranking in the Google business or the Google machine? And then you do the exact same thing, but you do it for a competitor of theirs. And I'll tell you, there's a real psychological aspect when you deal with local businesses especially. It does not matter the niche. They all know their competitors by name, and they hate that motherfucker. Like, God damn it, why is fucking Crown Restoration kicking my ass into Google? Those motherfuckers. And so I say that because it creates a present day problem. And a lot of you guys are doing this backwards. I'm going to do like a really harsh Frankie Fihn example to drive this point home. Imagine there is a lion that is on the savannah and he's just sitting around all day because he's got a thorn in his paw. There are two things you can sell him. One is what I would call future gain, meaning like life will be better tomorrow if you do what I say. And there is present pain going, man, you got a fucking thorn in your paw. That looks like it hurts. And there is nothing that will move sales forward and faster than it actually solves a present day problem and not will make their life better tomorrow. Now, why does this matter? Because if I look at 20 SEO motherfuckers, they're all promising a better tomorrow. They're going, we'll get you more leads and more sales and more customers. We'll get you fucking more of them. Get them. But what they're not doing is saying, man, that looks like that thorn hurts. And so this is the equivalent if you say to the lion, you say, hey, if you work with me and my thorn removal company, you're going to be walking all over the savannah. You're going to be eating the finest zebras that money can buy. And your ass is going to be getting all the lioness pussy you can handle, right? So I'm using a harsh example to illustrate this point, but that's what future gain sounds like to clients. It's like it's a nice to have, it's good, but it doesn't solve a present day problem. What really drives the needle home is like, man, like I can see a thorn in your paw. Let me take that out. I got some tweezers. It's gentle. It's easy. And so when you're selling SEO, what most people do that screws it up is they present it as a problem or a future. Your life will be better in 6 months from now. You'll have more leads and more customers and more sales. But people don't want to pay you to make life better in 6 months, but they will pay you because it hurts now. And so the psychology of mentioning their number one competitor is the whole time you're just running an analysis on them and showing their keyword ranking and showing their backlinks. They're going, motherfucking Crown, in their head. If you could listen to the thoughts, they'd be going, Crown Restoration, those cocksuckers. Like lawyers would say stuff like, that guy, he's never even tried a fucking case. He's a terrible lawyer. How can he be number one in Google? Are you fucking kidding me? Right? And so the framework for selling SEO through an audit is you run an analysis on them, you run an analysis on their competitor, which is, that creates the present day problem. And then you describe what you are going to do in the next 6 months to fill that gap so that in 6 from now, fuck that guy, he'll be number 2. And so, which software do you use to do that was your question. And I don't want software to stop you. Like, record your screen. So you need a screen recording software, a Loom, a Screencastify, a Zoom. All of those, by the way, are free for like 5-minute videos or less. Actually, Zoom lets you do like 40-minute recordings. Totally free. And then you need some kind of software to run an analysis. Ahrefs. Search Atlas. SEM Rush, which I believe has like 10 or 20 freebies, by the way. There's all, like, literally just fucking Google them, like SEO analysis tool. There's like a billion free ones. So I don't want you to think the software is the important detail. The creating a present day problem, thorn in your paw, and I have a plan to solve it. This is ABC Restoration, you. This is Crown Restoration, those cocksucking motherfuckers that are number one. This is the reason they got 212 links and you only got 15. You need at least 400 links to crush their soul. I'm here to build those 400 links for you, right? And then lay out your plan and your process. So that is the framework for selling SEO. Now, as far as how I like to do that, and you guys may not want to do that, but I always like to get them to initiate the conversation. And the way I've done that for years is a short summary of the offer that I call a hand raiser. And this is really, really key with a hand raiser. The hand raiser is not about your SEO. It is about a potential result you can create for somebody. So like if I was doing this for a restoration company, I'd say, who wants to see how we're getting 50 to 100 category 3 flood jobs every month by ranking #1 in Google, right? But they don't care about the ranking #1 in Google, like no restoration contractor or none of your people did either, woke up in a cold sweat and said, you know what I really need today is some SEO. But if they feel like they're getting their ass kicked by Crown Restoration and you can show them a clear, believable plan that like I can actually fix this, you're going to find your audits and things like that all work a lot better. So there's probably more than one way to be successful at this. Lane actually shared on one of the weekly SEO calls, he shared his exact script and framework for how they close SEO deals. It has a lot of the same kind of persuasion elements. So there's more than one way to be right about this, but I'm telling you, man, just name their competitor and show them mathematically why they're losing, and it creates a present day problem that they want to solve. All of a sudden they get very emotional about your SEO package, and more importantly, they get emotional about their problem, which again, I've said this many times, but I don't think enough people understand this. They're buying their way out of their problem, not into your SEO solution. So the more you focus on, yeah, man, Crown Restoration, I can see why they do shitty work. Like, just look at their before and after pictures. It sucks. I wouldn't want to work with them either. So anyways, I hope that's helpful to any of you guys who are out there selling SEO and all of that. Pavel says, hey, agency owners, quick question. I'm looking for ways to predictably acquire leads for my agency. Does the Automatic Clients Framework by Alan Saltonic, or Saltnich, I don't know how you say his last name. I've only ever read it, never heard it pronounced. Work for acquiring agency leads, digital ads, SEO services, SMS service, web design, or is it just relevant for selling courses or coaching? He actually wrote couching, but we're going to talk about coaching here, not couching. Couching is that baby right there, sleeping on that. So I've only ever found 6 ways to get clients. You mentioned like getting leads, but I don't want to talk just about getting leads, because I don't think you really just want leads and people to talk to. I think the vast majority want people who actually sign up for your shit, pay you ongoing money, are happy with it, and stay for the long term. So I've only ever found 6 ways to do that. There may be more. All right, I ain't saying this is like the entire playbook, but these are the 6 that I know of. So the first way, and this is the one I get asked about the most, and it's actually my least favorite, but I answer the question a lot because I get asked it a lot. And that is one-to-one, like messaging, so or outbound. So that means you're either cold DMing people on Instagram, or sending an outreach email, or friending people on LinkedIn and sending them a message, and cold calling them, and all those things that are kind of under that umbrella. And it works. And I'm not against it, but I feel like it's literally the most labor-intensive and least energy-efficient. And I think the reason most people gravitate to it, because as a beginner, it's the easiest one to wrap your head around, and it's free, right? So that process works. And to give you guys a little bit of insight into the people I know who are the most successful with it, they have the most personalized messages. They have easy to say yes to offers, and they often have a lot of follow-up, which is not a thing most people think about. And their follow-up often goes across channels and media, meaning they may first message a person on LinkedIn, then send them an email, and then show up in their Instagram and send them a message on their YouTube channel, versus just send them one email and then disappear, which is the vast majority of people, by the way, who aren't successful with outreach, send one email, it goes, buy my shit, and then people don't buy their shit and they give up on it. And the people who are successful, generally speaking, have highly personalized messages, have multiple follow-ups and multiple media, and actually engage with those people on their stuff. So there's way number 1. Okay? Way number 2, you run paid ads and you put your shit in front of them. One may think of it as like digital billboards. I'll tell you the most common way to do that for agency owners is Facebook ads. They're the easiest to like get started. They're generally speaking budget friendly. Having said that, there are some I know who do things like LinkedIn ads. I know a few people doing YouTube ads. I know a few people doing Google ads, but probably 90% of people are doing it with Facebook ads. Again, you want to make your stuff work. It is the same principle on Facebook ads. Have a really easy to say yes to offer, and then have multiple ads that work together. Rather than, so many people, by the way, why they struggle in the agency world with client acquisition is they misunderstand how long it takes the average client to make a decision. And so they're trying to go from I just met you to here's a credit card in one message, instead of thinking about, and that's like the like football equivalent for those of you guys who like just watched football yesterday. It's like there's a play in the football playbook called the Hail Mary, and it's when you got to go 80 yards on a single play, because it's like there's no more time left on the clock. We either got to score points or nothing, and so you're trying to throw the ball 80 yards in one play. But usually, like, winning football in the long term is not the Hail Mary. It's like continuously gaining yards forwards, 5 yards, 10 yards, 15, etc. And so a lot of times what people are, again, trying to do in an ad is like go for a Hail Mary. What's the perfect set of words that I can go from I never heard of you 5 minutes ago to here's my credit card? And I'm not saying those don't work, but rather than thinking about it as a Hail Mary, think about how can like 10 ads work together to move it forwards. I would suggest those of you guys check out Dennis Yu's $1 per day, where he goes into great detail about how to make a series of ads work together. And series of ads, by the way, are way more predictable because each one drives the ball 5 yards forward. And instead of trying to get one ad to always crush it, you're using multiple things. So that's the second way. The third way, paid ads. Third way to get people in the door as clients is with content. You post stuff and give away information that is valuable to people about what you do. This can mean posting stuff on LinkedIn. This can mean getting on video and making a YouTube video. This can mean putting out a podcast in your industry every week and letting people know you exist in the fucking world. Content is one of my favorite long-term plays, but I think most people can't make it work because they're expecting too quick of a result. And I don't know why this is, but content just takes repetition, and usually that means for the first 90 days, not much happens. And most people give up in the first 90 days because not much has happened. But what they're missing is what they couldn't see and easily measure is that the football was actually moving up the field, but because you only get points, you only collect cash when you get into the end zone, they didn't realize I moved 50 yards up the field, and so they give up too early. I see it time and time again with content. But those who are successful with content have a regular thing at a regular interval that they publish continuously for their audience. And what happens is the real magic of content is that it's one to many and begins to stack, meaning like I think of Chris Rodriguez, who has a martial arts offer, and they got a community of like 3,000, 4,000 martial arts people. Well, she makes a post in there every day. Her regular interval is every 24 hours. Someone posts some stuff and gives them some valuable information. Well, now what happens is they're able to nurture 4,000 leads all at once with one message. And so it creates for her that they don't have to do all the work on the sales call. They don't need great salespeople because people warm up to them through their content and then come to them mostly pre-sold and pre-positioned to buy with them as the expert. So if you're going to do content, you do some regular interval shit. Now, the fourth way I've seen that works, which is my probably least used one, which is you do the old-fashioned in-person networking. You go to BNI meetings. You go to networking. You go hang out with motherfuckers in your industry. Maybe even like buy a ticket and go to a conference and rub shoulders with them. And if you do that continuously, what you're going to find is you'll get people. So that's the fourth way. The fifth way that I've seen to successfully get clients, which is my personal favorite way, is, and this makes more sense to those of you guys who've read the second book, is I pursue distribution first. So I mentioned there's like two farmers. There's the farmer trying to sell their stuff, Farmer Andy, and they get real good at selling eggs by the side of the road, going 2-for-1 eggs, premium eggs, sale on eggs, highest quality organic eggs. And they sell them, but they sell them with their limited reach. And then there's Farmer Bob, who focuses on how can I get my stuff sold in stores? And when you fast forward a year, when Bob's got 100 stores selling his eggs, he's crushing Andy, who's standing by the side of the road and just focusing on creating a good message and a good offer. Not that those things aren't important. So To me, my fifth favorite way is still a content method, but rather than posting content on your own stuff, is I focus on the people who already have the audiences, who already have the distribution, and add value to their audiences in the form of giving away ideas, which I then charge people to help them implement it. So for example, I've done this many times with industry associations, and you can speak on their stages. You can be in their podcast. You can create little expert interviews. You can publish stuff in their magazine. They often have newsletters they send to people. They do free webinars and trainings and things like that. And all of those are valuable things. And the real hack of it is they often have, like, I got a magazine article published, and they actually decided to put it on the front cover of one of their magazines in the industry association. Well, they have 32,000 fucking readers. So how long would it have taken me to get in front of 32,000 people? And here's the thing. All you got to do is send one little teeny tiny outbound message, and it's free. Just like the one everybody asked me about. But what's different is you send message to distribution, and different than trying to sell your stuff, you're actually trying to say, I'm trying to give away valuable information to your audience, which they need. They need valuable information for their audience. So when you do it that way, which is my preferred way of doing it, it also then leads into the sixth thing, which is referral partners. You have somebody who, for whatever reason, likes your shit and sends you business on a like semi-regular kind of schedule. And what happens is the people who make for the best referral partners are the people who have the audiences, because they know the most amount of people in your space. Ergo, when they refer you, they ain't just referring like one or two. They're often referring you like $50,000 per month of business all at one time. So essentially you asked about getting leads, but I wanted to go deeper than getting leads. That's it. If you're getting clients, you probably like 99% chance you're doing one of those six things. You are either doing some one-to-one messaging, you're running paid ads, you're putting content in front of those people, you're doing some old-fashioned networking face-to-face, you are publishing stuff utilizing other people's audiences, or you got a referral partner. So the question I like to ask is, like, of all those things, which one of those works best for me and my style? And sometimes it can be more than one. Like, we take our published stuff and audience and turn those into paid ads. So we're using more than one of those strategies at once. But I don't really like doing all the old-fashioned networking. I like a business I can sit on my couch and hang with my kids. Not that I don't love rubbing shoulders with people sometimes, but man, I'm kind of lazy. Being real with you guys. And also, like, I don't like doing a lot of one-to-one outreach. I find it very tedious and inefficient with lots of rejection and stuff. I know it works. And we used to do it a lot of years ago, but like I don't really focus on it these days. So you're going to have to do one of those six things, figure out which one of those makes the most sense based on how you're built, and then fucking do it and get to work building it. Nathaniel Bear, what a cool name. Dude, he says, one of my competitors said that Excel is a great CRM. What do you guys use? So there are a lot of like different tools. Like some people like go high level, as you mentioned. Excel can be done. Some people still use pen and paper as their CRM. Obviously, like HubSpot's a popular one. Salesforce. Here's my thoughts on CRMs, okay, or really any software. And I'm going to give the ultimate lawyer answer ever. If you ask a lawyer any question on earth, does not matter the question. The answer to the question will be, it depends. And it depends on this one little thing. Like, what are you trying to do with it? So for the vast majority of people, I actually think Excel is a pretty good CRM. So in our real estate biz, where we buy and flip real estate in Tennessee, big shout out to Matt Larson for everything he's helped us to do with that. But we have a CRM called Podio Powerhouse Max. And it was set up by Matt. I know, I've seen it, I've used it a little bit, I know how it works, but it's mostly for my VAs. And what it had to do was really, really important is we have to systematically follow up with people who are interested in selling their house. And often one person calls them one time and another person calls them the next time and a different person calls them the third time. And it's very hard to pass off information. So what we do is we have a standardized file where we input all the details of the house. What is the square footage? How many bedrooms? How many bathrooms? What did the owner say? Did they ask, did they give any other specific information? What's the Zillow estimate? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And what it enables us is that one person can start that conversation And a second person and a third person and a fourth person can continue it and do so intelligently and personalized each time. So that's like an example of a really sophisticated CRM. Again, I didn't build it. Shout out to Matt Larson. Now that is needed when you have like a lot of volume and you're talking to a lot of people and a lot of different salespeople are talking to the same person. For most of you guys, all you really need a CRM is when somebody kind of like has a conversation with you or says, can we talk in a couple of weeks? I'm waiting on a payment or whatever. You just need a systematic way to do follow-up. And I actually think an Excel spreadsheet is plenty. The person's name, some basic contact details, and a field or two that says, this is what we talked about last time and where the conversation was. And then you can look at it and you can remember, oh yeah, that's right. He asked me to talk to him again in a month and we said this, this, and that. He said he was waiting on a payment. Now I message him and go, hey, any news on that payment? Right? So, again, the ultimate lawyerly answer, it depends on how you use the CRM, but I think for most of you guys, like Excel is good enough. Like you just really need some basic shit. And by the way, no shame in using Excel. For a lot of our different projects, especially like when we're just trying ideas out, but we need to be systematic, like Excel is my go-to. Like I use Excel for a lot of different business sort of CRM applications. So don't like look at that as like a terrible thing. But having said that, obviously they're more sophisticated things. But for the vast majority of you guys, you're not trying to build a team with 5 closers. And so you probably don't need like this super Salesforce corporate-y CRM kind of situation. You need Excel or some Go High Level or some basic Asana inputs and just to be systematic about contacting people when you say you will. Like for example, if somebody says, hey, I'm waiting on a payment, but I'm expecting it next month. Can we talk about it next month? Then I would put in my CRM a notification reminder. So next month to the day when they said, contact me in a month, it goes bloop and says, message Larry. He said he was interested, right? So that's all like most of you guys really need is just like that and nothing else. If you guys are interested, we could actually show some examples of that. Not necessarily on the Q&A, but we can do some trainings and stuff like that on, what a basic CRM looks like. Because by the way, all the amateurs wing it when it comes to follow-up, and all the pros have systematic follow-up. Like, if you want to just separate the people who make a lot of money from a little money is like I'm not saying all the time, but like frequently a big detail in there is systematic follow-up or lack thereof. And I would see this like with attorneys. Give you guys one real life example. Most attorneys knew if somebody contacted their office and filled out a form on a website, you got 3 minutes to call that person back. They also know that we're going to follow up with that person at least 6 times because they know the first time you call, they may not even recognize the number. But let's leave a voicemail and remind them who they are and why they called. Then let's try again. Let's text them a day later. Let's call them in a week, etc. They have systematic follow-up and they don't give up on those leads super easily, which is why they're successful, by the way. And last question we got here. I hope that's helpful, my dude. Haroon, cool name. How do you make it unreasonable for somebody to not get on a call with you? What are things you need to do? Everybody's asking the same prospects to get on a call with them. How we can make ourselves stand out from the rest of it all and make getting on a call an irresistible offer in itself. Or is there anything else that we can do which highlights the value of getting on a call for a prospect? Example, sending them a loom or having a short conversation with them before. Prospects don't seem to be getting on a call with me, had conversations with them, send them looms, but not able to book calls. That's my sales process for now. Haven't nailed down my service yet, so I'd love to talk with my ICP. Any solutions for it? Okay, so there's a couple things with trying to get people on calls. Okay, so firstly, calls are risky and not in the way people think. Every single sales call has at least 2 big implied objections. One, you're going to waste my fucking time, right? So there's a time thing. A lot of times we think about money and stuff. Hey, let's jump on a quick call. But I promise you, if you're busy and successful, you value time more than money. And so when somebody asks for 15 minutes of your time, that is a bigger ask than for $10,000, for example. Like when I work with busy attorneys, like trying to get 15 minutes of their time is like pulling teeth. But like some of these motherfuckers I've hung out with in Las Vegas, and they'll literally blow $20,000 at the casino table in like 3.5 minutes and have a good time doing it. I personally don't feel that way about losing 20 grand, but to each their own, right? So I say that to you because like the busier and higher you go up the successful thing, there's always a time risk with a call. And so we'll come back to that in a second. And the second thing is there is implied sales pressure, right? Like my ex-girlfriend used to love buying or going to timeshare shit. We would travel and they would have like a timeshare, like come to a free timeshare presentation, you get dinner at this place, or you get a free show. And she always like, let's just do it, have fun, we'll check out the timeshare and we'll get a free thing. She just loved that shit. I personally hate it. But the hardest part of those timeshare presentations is there's like an hour where you're like, hey, listen, I'm not really interested in buying a timeshare. I just came here because I want your free restaurant deal. Like, that seemed pretty generous. Yeah, sorry, no, not really interested. No, definitely. No, not that option. No. Can I just get my free thing and get the fuck out of here? And after a while, it's hard because you feel like you're just constantly saying no to these people and you're just trying to get out of there and it's awkward and nobody likes it, right? So asking somebody to jump on a call with you has those two big things like elephants in the room, is that it's going to waste my fucking time. And B, like this person's just going to push and push and push and push, and I'm going to have to tell them no 47 times more than I want to. So then the third thing to understand with that is that nobody woke up in the middle of the night and said, I really need a sales call. So this is another one of those things where if you can get clear on the outcome that you're actually going to accomplish together on a call, you're going to get a lot more people to get on calls with you. And I'll tell you, is the most valuable thing for most of you guys that will get people on calls is a specific idea you have for that client that creates an outcome and a plan or a process that I'm going to show you that will help you get there. So for example, like if I was talking to an attorney, I know attorneys want motor vehicle accident cases. And let's say, for example, the service I was trying to sell is SEO, search engine optimization. Then that conversation would not be, hey, let's jump on a quick call and talk, just to talk. It would be like, hey, Mr. Attorney, I know you're super busy, but I was checking out your thing and I see a really low-hanging fruit opportunity for you to get a couple of motor vehicle accident cases this week from your Google listing, which is only a couple spots out of the top 3. Would it be cool if we jumped on a little 10-minute call and I showed you where those hidden motor vehicle accident cases are in your machine already? Right? And they're not jumping on with me because they want to get on a call. They're jumping on a call because they want motor vehicle accident cases, and it sounds like I have an idea that's going to help them get what they want. I had this talk with my Mastermind members last week because a lot of people were just kind of like dialing in their outreach and their ads and things like that. If I could just say one thing that made all of this easier for you, is that prospects do not give a fuck about you, especially in the beginning when they don't know you and don't have any reason to like, know, or trust you, and they never will. And so the less you make it about like jump on a call with me and more about I've got an idea that's going to help you to get what you want, you'd be amazed at how many more people are willing to jump on calls. So the way to do that is to have a valuable idea that will create a specific result when implemented for them, and you're going to give them the idea for free, and you're going to set that up so that you're the one set up to help them implement it, because chances are they're not going to want to do their own SEO or Facebook ad or funnel or whatever. And that this call will be succinct, and to the fucking point, right? Because if they're busy and successful, like you're asking for their time, which is actually a way bigger ask than the money. I get people all the time, can we jump on a call? Never mind that I wrote a book about not doing calls. I kind of missed that detail. But it's the time request, not the, hey, they're going to try and sell me something. That's the big deal. It's like, just give me the fucking details. Like, what do you got? Like, I don't want to have to jump on a call with you to get the details. So if you can articulate that and say, hey, like, you probably got at least 4 or 5 motor vehicle accident cases based in the flow you got, because there's 3 or 4 keywords you got that are between 4 and 6. I want to show you what those keywords are, what the opportunity is, and how you would have to fix them so you can get in front of lawyer ABC that I know is taking all your business right now. Would you have 5 or 10 minutes to jump on a call and I just run it by you real quick? Right? That's going to get somebody on a call a lot faster than jump on a call with me. And usually this confuses beginner types that are like trying to, like, for the first time get people on calls, because you have an abundance of time, right? You don't have a bunch of clients that are like taking up all your schedule. You don't have fulfillments and stuff. So for you, it's very valuable to get on a call so it doesn't occur to you that you're actually asking for a big time investment from somebody who has so little precious of it. Right? Like I know my market, and by the way, a lot of your markets are the same. The successful people in your market are often working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. They're doing shit when nobody else is working. So when you say, hey, Mr. So-and-so working 80 hours a week, can I take another hour of your schedule? That's a way bigger ask than can you give me 10 grand to solve this problem? In fact, a lot of the attorneys would have said, if somebody wants to test an idea with me, I'll give them 10 grand without even batting an eye. The first time I heard that, I was like, man, that's good to know. That's useful to know. If I got an idea and I think it'll help you, 10 grand is not a big ask. What is a big ask is an hour of your time. So I say that to you because if you're having trouble with getting people on a call, you don't have a specific enough idea that will actually help them, or you're asking for too big of a time commitment. So eliminate those two things by actually having a real clear, tangible idea of this is how I could actually help you, and I'm asking for a very small time commitment. The smaller the better, but also don't lie. If you need 10 minutes to explain them, don't tell them it'll be 60 seconds. Hey, I just need 10 minutes to run it by you. So anyways, I hope that's helpful to you, my dude, because I noticed trying to get people on calls and they just don't want to do it. So those are some really good questions you guys asked today. Because I'm on my phone, I actually don't see any of the chat. So if you guys asked anything else, it doesn't show up for me, but I'll add it to the queue and answer it for next week, or just answer it in text below if it's a simple question. But I appreciate you guys, and I just wanted to mention we're shaping up the Wolfpack, and what I want to do that's different than everybody else is I believe that most people do too much manual effort to be successful in this agency game, because ultimately you see people where they become successful, but it's all dependent on them and their moving pieces and their effort, and then you trap yourself into this, which I've done for myself before. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hour work weeks, and you can't get out of your own hamster wheel. You can't take a week off. You can't take a day off. Not because you can't do it financially, because you have too many obligations and things like that, and too much work to do and too many clients at you. And the way we found to get out of that is to make assets and things you own the actual valuable thing and get off the heavy lifting. So I used the example the other week. Scott Tacholke, who I think does this brilliantly, he helps mortgage brokers to get leads off of YouTube ads. So he runs YouTube ads for them. And what he found in the beginning was that he was trying to get mortgage brokers to make videos so that he could then promote them on YouTube. And there were all kinds of problems with them. Some of them were really bad on video. Some of them never even got around to making it. Sometimes the lighting would be bad or the sound would be bad. And all these challenges he had, and only a select few of his clients were getting results. And so he decided to make his own video with him in it and just do it right. And then what happens is when he signs up a client, he also has a landing page, which is a quiz page. When a client signs up, they get a video of Scott actually selling mortgages for them. It's him in their video. And it drives them to a landing page and says, we have actually a couple of professionals who may be able to help you. And they fill out the form, and then now they get a fresh lead for that mortgage broker. But what it means for Scott, from a delivery point of view, the video is already pretty much made before the client starts working with them. So he just has to copy and paste. And then the landing page, it has that mortgage broker's name, so he's got to make a copy of it and change their name and change the contact email. But 5-10 minutes of setup, he's good to go, and clients are getting results in the first 24 hours. And the magic of that is that the asset is providing the value, not Scott in his ability to provide service and stuff like that. The asset in this case is his video, his landing page, the audience that's available to him in YouTube. And so those things are doing the heavy lifting. And that's what I want to show you more of you guys how to do, is create agency stuff that actually gets you wealthy long term and gives you stuff you own and control that do the bulk of the heavy lifting, not you, which I think is a much better way of doing it. So if that sounds like your cup of tea and you guys are interested in potentially getting there faster, you may want to check out the old Wolfpack, because that's what we're all about. And I've been building a massive amount of tools and stuff and swipe files and things like that to make it easier for everybody to do this. You can go to beyondagencyprofits.com, and then there is a link for the Wolfpack. Also, for those of you guys who are on YouTube right now and not watching the replay of this on YouTube, there's a link pinned right below this that you can grab. So check that out. See if it's no pressure if it's not. But I've seen it change enough people's lives. And personally, like, I remember actually the first time I enrolled into a mastermind and saw how life-changing they could be if you were in the right one. I got invited to an attorney mastermind, and they asked me to come there and talk about SEO. And I remember the person running the mastermind, a mentor of mine named Ken, he said, "Can you come talk to these guys about SEO?" And I was like, "Me? Like, I haven't sold SEO in like 4 years, dude. Like what would I talk about?" He said, "That's exactly why we want you, because everyone else is going to tell us that their solution is the best available option, but you don't really care. You don't have anything to sell, so you can just give us an honest opinion, and we're not technically sound enough to know who's telling us the truth and not, and what's actually, like, how to look into this stuff. So we just want you to run an analysis on everybody in the room and just tell us how we're doing, and if you had any recommendations or whatever." So I got invited to this, and for the first day, I was just a fly on the wall, and it was the top personal injury lawyers in the fucking world. And they were sitting there sharing all their trade secrets. So I remember one guy was talking about TV commercials. He showed like equipment they use to record it. They have a person who creates the scripts for them, like all that person's contact info. They explained how they buy the media, how much they spend on it, how they get the phone number in, what kind of jingles, what kind of creatives work. And then everybody else chimed in and shared all their stuff. And I went from not knowing anything about TV commercials for attorneys to about an hour later, I was like, shit, I could like make $1 million campaigns with these and be successful because I already know everyone who puts it together. Like, I know all the who's to connect the dots. I was like, holy shit. I remember going in there and I asked Ken, like, how much do you charge for your mastermind? This is like 2014, 2015. And he told me it's $12,000 a year and you get 3 meetings. And I remember before we went in the room, I was like, $12,000 for 3 meetings? Why would anybody pay $12,000 for 3 meetings? And I came out of it going, holy shit, that's way underpriced. That's way underpriced. Ken, you need to raise the price on this because it's worth way more than $12,000. And part of it was like you got the keys to the secret by people who are actually doing it. So I've been working on doing that for a mastermind that's, like, to me, all about leverage, which is making your money come in when you're not working. I can't express this enough. There's a lot of successful agencies in the world, but a lot of them only get there by sheer effort and determination, and also don't own anything of value when they inevitably get burnt out. Like, I've seen lots of agencies, they scale to $150,000 a month, and then they get burnt out and it drops back down to 10 one month. Suddenly they lose all their clients, and they own nothing, and they have nothing of value, and they're burnt out and broken, and all of a sudden they got to start over. As where when you do what I'm talking about, where assets are in place, you actually have a real sellable machine because it's not dependent on you. Like, Scott's agency is not dependent on him that I gave the example of a minute ago. It's dependent on his videos working, which, as long as those videos are working, like, that agency is sellable, right? And he's just selling intellectual property that he owns that does not require him to deliver. This is why I'm so big on closing in video, because the video's doing the work, not you. Right? This is like, it takes a little bit of work and understanding to get it right, but once you do, like, video can be your 24/7, 365 days a year prospecting machine. So I've done my best, and I'm going to continue to build on that to put that into the wolf pack. It's kind of like my heart and soul. Because of that, for those of you guys who are interested, check it out. I think it's life-changing. I believe in masterminds in general. And I've also, by the way, I should mention, I've been invested in masterminds and made wrong decisions in terms of, like, you know, like, people just disappeared and stuff like that. And I find you still sometimes gotta, like, pony up and try again, because it's like, they are life-changing. If you join 10 of them and only 6 of them turn out to be good, or 5 of them turn out to be good, you're still going to be way ahead. Like, I'm just a big believer in that activity, is that nothing will help you learn faster than being around other people who either have done it or are also doing it today alongside you. And I've tried to make it, too, a community where we all fucking help each other. That's the whole point, is like, whatever problem you got is not something you have to face alone. You have 60, 70, 80 people who are alongside you doing the same thing as you, who understand your problem and have useful insights for how to help you on it. So check it out. That's all I got for you guys on Monday. Happy Monday. Much love. May the force be with you. I hope you guys enjoyed this version on my phone. I hope it came out a little clearer and less grainy, and that the audio is still cool. So that's all I got for you guys. Happy Monday. And peace out. May the force be with you.
Hey guys, if you like this video, you may also like my best-selling book here, Beyond the Agency Box. It is all about scaling a digital marketing agency while eliminating meetings and phone calls. We actually sell our stuff phoneless. We don't have any client meetings, and we also hire our team entirely without meeting phone calls, which allows us to, like actually kind of live a life. I've laid out the entire blueprint and everything you need to know, getting clients, onboarding, setting expectations, scaling, building a team, you name it. It has been a bestseller on Amazon now for over 5 straight years, but now you can get it even cheaper than you can get it on Amazon. So I can't tell you the exact price because it may change when this video is released, but there should be a link to it below, either in the description of the video or as well as a pinned comment. So if you're interested in that, check out that video and you can get a copy for super cheap.